Hi, I'm the Boss Problem Buster, founder of the Pay Raise Commando, a senior organizational consultant of 24 years, having worked across cultures, industries, and ranks with 7,250 employees trained between us, my team and I. I'm also a social psychologist with a master's and a bachelor's degrees, both with honors. My team and I train passed over corporate professionals like you to get that pay raise and promotion you're overdue for so that you can finally kill your Monday blues before you sink further and bring your inner joy back, which is the best part of my job and the goal of this channel. Now, back to the salt mines. Let me tell you a secret no employee knows or understands. Your boss is anxious about you not being promoted just as you are, maybe even more. Yes, I've said more. I know it sounds odd, but it's true. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just giving you the facts nobody else will. How do I know? Well, 23 years of working with bosses just like yours and seeing things from their point of view. This is how. So in this two-part video, I will A, prove it to you, and B, show you how you can use it to your advantage. So here it is. After deciding against you with a promotion or pay raise or both, your boss dreads no less, the moment of passing you in the hall, having to look you in the eye and make small talk, or worse, from his perspective, the moment you will look him in the eye and ask why. Why not me? For crying out loud, how could you pick that loser over me? Of course he'd say it differently, but that would be the gist of it. And when you do, he knows he will have to come up with an answer. So here are the scenarios your boss is running frantically in his head that cause his anxiety over you. He could either tell you the truth, which will probably deflate your motivation and performance, or he could brush you off with some made-up, feel-good, kumbaya bullshit that will appease you so that you can all go back to business as usual. However, both options are dreadful to him. Literally dreadful. How so? Well, the first option, where he tells you the truth on why he chose to give that promotion or pay raise or both to that other guy, not you, is dreadful to your boss two ways. Firstly, on a personal level, it is very hard to look someone in the eye and tell them, meaning you, the unpleasant truth about themselves, meaning you again, especially when it is bound to make the relationship awkward at best and straight out acrimonious at worst. Secondly, on a professional level, when your motivation and performance go down, this reflects negatively on your boss. Not one, not two, but three-way this happens. First, in his everyday managerial duties, having to deal with you. And who wants to deal with a disgruntled worker? Then, so it's the second way, there's the team to deal with. We all know the dynamics within a team are always complex enough as it is. But it gets even more complex when one member, that would be you, is not pulling his weight. And you're not pulling your weight because you were told the truth, which you didn't like, which deflated your motivation and performance, which is exactly as your boss suspected and feared. And then all of that, in turn, will reflect negatively on your boss in a third way, probably the most damaging to him, the way his superiors see him. So he is truly between a rock and a hard place if he tells you the truth. The second option your boss is frantically considering, where he bullshits you into appeasement and a business as usual relationship, is also dreadful to him. Because firstly, it is difficult to look someone in the eye and lie to them, meaning you, just as it is telling them the truth. Secondly, it is especially hard if the employee, meaning you, does not buy the lies and keep probing further on the why. The more you probe, the more your boss will weave an even more tangled web of lies than he already has. And thirdly, even if he manages to somehow appease you, he knows his tangled web of BS will 100% come back to bite him. When? When the next opportunity presents itself for a promotion or a pay raise or both. Why? Because when that happens, you will be assuming it's in the bag, your bag, based on this cockamamie talk he's had with you. So either way, a dreadful catch-22, which is exactly why your boss is totally anxious about you not getting that promotion or pay raise or both, just as you are, maybe even more. QED, I rest my case. Now remember, these are all scenarios your boss is frantically running in his head, which is the reason for his dread of you. Indeed, in his mind, you're the dread pirate Roberts, no less. And wouldn't you have loved to be Wesley and win the Princess Bride? Alas, my friend, I've prepared a very different role for you today, from an entirely different movie, yet as remarkable. Not as alluring, perhaps, but much more practical for your predicament, trust me. You will be, wait for it, Dorothy, all lost and confused, thinking her destiny depends on the whim of the all-powerful Wizard of Oz. And I will be your little doggy Toto, pulling back the curtain, exposing all the smoke and mirrors behind your boss's Wizard of Oz performance of confidence and being in control. And what you'll find will blow your mind, because you'll realize you've always had the power to go back to Kansas. And that will make you look at your current conundrum in a whole new way you never thought possible. Sounds interesting? Stick around. In our previous masterclass, we've broken down the 4 crucial don'ts after being passed over for promotion and or a pay raise. I'll link it in the description. And now it's time for the crucial do's. What to do so that you can have the full picture of both the don'ts and the do's, and so that you can, with time, completely turn around your current disappointment into future success. And I have so many great insights and tips to share with you, things you probably don't normally hear, so the do's will be broken into 2 parts. In this first part, I will drill down deep into your boss's psychology after having passed you over. Turns out it has a huge impact on him, which is something I also have never heard anybody else speak of or even acknowledge, let alone understand how it plays in your favor in a surprising, counterintuitive way, which we'll cover today. And in the second part, I'll show you how you can actually, practically, use this newfound understanding of your boss's psychology to your advantage, because you absolutely can. Okay, let's get going. We have plenty to cover. The number 1 do, which is the focus of this part, is indeed understand your boss's psychology and how it can work to your advantage. Now, if you're like most employees, Dorothy, wink wink, I can't wink, so I have to say, you tend to forget that your boss is not as omnipotent as he seems to be, much like the all-powerful Wizard of Oz. If you pull back the curtain, as I'm now doing, remember I'm your little doggy Toto, you find out that it's just some guy pulling on some levers and often quite clueless as to what to do in the face of direct conflict. Just like when Dorothy confronts the wizard, and as you may confront your boss with the why not me question that he so dreads, as we've seen before. This might seem confusing or oxymoronic, but it's not. 2 things can be true at the same time. Your boss did indeed have the power to decide against you regarding that promotion and or pay raise. So in that respect, he was all-powerful, but he himself is constantly subject to a complex matrix of interpersonal and political dynamics, both within his department and outside of it, with peers and superiors. A crucial part of this matrix is the immense psychological power that a problematic or a rogue or a harder to control employee have over him, as they do any boss. I've seen it time and time again, to the point where you really come to wonder, who's the real boss here? Just like that 80s sitcom, Tony was the one in control in more cases than one, not his boss. Simply put, the more rogue an employee is, the more the boss is willing to do to appease that employee, just so that he himself can have some peace and quiet. By the way, let me go off on a tangent here for a second. If you're wondering why I refer to your boss and others as he, it's just time consuming and annoying to keep saying he or she, and I'm sick of using the PC they, because it makes for ridiculous sentences which completely defy basic syntax and grammar, so I'm going with a he. And if I don't forget, next time I'll go with a she, so we'll alternate between the two. Fair enough? You know, it's crazy that it even needs to be addressed, but these are the times we live in, and I just don't want that to distract anyone from the issue at hand. So let's all just keep our eyes on the ball here, which is your boss's psychology, whatever gender he, she, they may be. So as I've said, the more rogue an employee is, the more the boss is willing to do to appease that employee, just for his own personal peace and quiet. This is the paradox nobody understands or pays attention to, which is why we need this long-form drill down. You may think this is counterintuitive, but it actually makes perfect sense. The only reason why it might seem counterintuitive is your innate but false assumption that your boss is both capable and willing to confront whomever is necessary in order to assert his leadership and to make that employee compliant and easier to manage, especially someone like you who is in his own department and under his direct supervision. You would think that because that is what he is paid to do, among other things. But this is not the case most of the time. Most bosses, especially mid-management, for sure lower management, but you'd be surprised how often this is true for top management as well. Anyway, the point is, most of them would be willing to put up with a lot, and I mean a lot, just to avoid confrontation of any sort. There is a much higher chance for most bosses to be either wimps or passive aggressive rather than true leaders with everything that entails or should entail. And don't be fooled by all the leadership programs they attend. Leadership is just an overused and misused term for what is otherwise mostly a bureaucratic, administrative, cog in the system mentality that is needed to perform well in most big organizations. So from now on, I'll use management rather than leadership. It's just a more accurate term in the context that we're talking about. If you'd like the full transcript of this video and all the videos on this channel, see the link in the description. It's on our website, bossproblembuster.com, because it's too long to paste here, so not a trick to get you there. But if you do hop over, you'll find many practical reads and a forum where you can discreetly and anonymously ask us anything in regards to landing that promotion and pay raise, to which we reply very quickly. Each video drops inconvenient truth bombs on you right, left, and center, all very direct, pragmatic, and very much non-PC. No fluff, no bullshit. So, if you'd like to get a promotion with a pay raise, or a pay raise independent of a promotion, kill your Monday blues and bring your inner joy back, and if you can handle the truth, you can handle the truth. I'm channeling Jack Nicholson. Then subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell so that we can meet again.